The 2026 Formula One season has finally begun, and the Australian Grand Prix delivered far more answers than anyone expected. George Russell controlled the race to take a commanding victory for Mercedes, leading teammate Kimi Antonelli to a stunning 1-2 finish. Behind them, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton had to settle for third and fourth, while Max Verstappen produced one of the most impressive recovery drives of the race by climbing from 20th on the grid to 6th at the finish. But if you only look at the final results, you miss the real story of what happened in Melbourne. Because this race wasn't just about who crossed the finish line first, it was about which teams truly understood the brand new 2026 Formula One regulations. Before we break down exactly how Mercedes managed to dominate the opening race of the season and what it means for the championship fight ahead, make sure to subscribe to F1 Unpacked and turn on notifications, because throughout the season we'll be analyzing the technical battles, strategy decisions, and hidden stories that shape every Formula One weekend. The anticipation heading into Melbourne was enormous. The 2026 season marks the beginning of one of the biggest technical resets Formula One has ever seen. New power unit regulations have completely changed the balance between electrical energy and internal combustion power. The MGU-H system has been removed, electrical deployment from the MGU-K has been massively increased, and teams now rely far more heavily on energy recovery and battery management to produce competitive lap times. In simple terms, the cars are now much more sensitive to energy efficiency. How a team manages deployment across a lap can make the difference between gaining or losing multiple tenths of a second. Throughout preseason testing in Bahrain, the early signs suggested that several teams could be competitive. Ferrari looked extremely quick during certain long-run simulations. McLaren appeared strong over a single lap. Red Bull showed flashes of speed but struggled with consistency. But Mercedes kept their cards close to their chest. They didn't dominate the testing headlines, yet engineers around the paddock quietly started to notice something unusual about their power unit behavior. That suspicion became much clearer during qualifying in Melbourne. George Russell secured pole position ahead of his teammate Kimi Antonelli, instantly confirming that the Mercedes package had serious pace. More importantly, the way the car achieved that pace looked different compared to the rest of the field. The Mercedes power unit appeared extremely efficient in how it deployed electrical energy along the straights, while still maintaining strong regeneration under braking zones. Even so, many expected Ferrari to challenge them during the race. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton both showed competitive long-run pace during the practice sessions, and Albert Park has often been a track where strategy can flip the order unexpectedly. When the lights went out, the race immediately delivered drama. Charles Leclerc launched from fourth on the grid and made a brilliant move into turn one, sweeping past Russell to take the early lead. It was an aggressive move that instantly put Ferrari in control of the race's opening phase. For several laps, the battle between Leclerc and Russell became the focal point of the race. The two drivers traded positions multiple times, pushing their cars right to the edge, while Lewis Hamilton remained close behind, ready to capitalize on any mistake. At the same time, Kimi Antonelli experienced a slightly messy start. Despite qualifying on the front row, the young Italian dropped back during the opening laps as the field compressed into the tight first sector. However, once the race began to settle, Antonelli started methodically working his way back toward the front, demonstrating the calm racecraft that made him one of the most highly anticipated rookies in years. The first major turning point of the race arrived on lap 11 when Red Bull's Isaac Hadjar suffered a mechanical problem that forced him to pull off the track. The incident triggered a virtual safety car, and within seconds, Mercedes made a decisive call. Both Russell and Antonelli were brought into the pits immediately. Ferrari chose the opposite strategy. They kept both Leclerc and Hamilton out on track, hoping that extending the first stint would allow them to gain track position later in the race. Initially, the Ferrari strategy appeared promising. When the race resumed, Leclerc led Hamilton, while Russell, having already made his stop, was nearly 10 seconds behind. At that moment, it looked as if Ferrari had successfully turned the race in their favor. But Formula One strategy is rarely that simple. Only a few laps later, another virtual safety car was triggered when Valtteri Bottas stopped his Cadillac near the pit entry. This second neutralization completely changed the strategic picture. Ferrari again chose to stay out, while Mercedes committed to their earlier strategy and allowed their drivers to remain on the same tire set for the remainder of the race. From that point onward, the key question became tire life. Albert Park is not typically a circuit known for extreme tire degradation, but running more than 30 laps on a single set is still a major challenge, especially under race conditions where drivers must constantly balance pace with energy deployment. This is where the new Mercedes package truly began to show its strength. The Silver Arrows appeared capable of managing both tire degradation and battery energy more efficiently than their rivals. Russell began to gradually close the gap to the Ferrari drivers, maintaining a steady and controlled pace without pushing the tires beyond their limit. Even so, many expected Ferrari to challenge them during the race. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton both showed competitive long-run pace during the practice sessions, and Albert Park has often been a track where strategy can flip the order unexpectedly.
From there, the focus shifted to endurance. Russell and Antonelli were running extremely long stints on aging tires, yet the car continued to perform consistently. This suggested that Mercedes had achieved something very important with their 2026 package: stability. In the new regulatory era, stability is everything. Because the cars rely so heavily on electrical deployment cycles, drivers constantly need a predictable platform to manage throttle application and energy recovery. If the rear of the car becomes unstable during those phases, lap time disappears very quickly. Russell handled this challenge perfectly. After the early fight with Leclerc, he switched into management mode, carefully controlling the pace while still maintaining enough speed to prevent Ferrari from closing the gap. Behind him, Antonelli delivered an exceptional performance. For a rookie making his full Formula One debut, managing tire wear and energy systems at the front of the field is an enormous challenge. Yet the young Italian showed remarkable composure, holding second place and securing a dream 1-2 finish for Mercedes. Further down the field, several other storylines unfolded. Max Verstappen produced one of the most impressive drives of the race. After crashing in qualifying and starting from 20th on the grid, the reigning world champion carved his way through the field with a series of aggressive overtakes. Finishing 6th may not sound spectacular on paper, but considering where he started, it was a strong recovery that demonstrated his relentless racecraft. There were also standout performances from several younger drivers. Haas rookie Ollie Behrman delivered a mature race to finish 7th, while Racing Bull's Arvid Lindblad scored points on his Formula One debut by finishing 8th. Audi also celebrated a successful start to their new era as a works team, with Gabriele Bortoleto securing 9th place. Not every team had a positive weekend, however. McLaren suffered a particularly painful moment when Oscar Piastri spun on his way to the grid in front of his home crowd, preventing him from even starting the race. Aston Martin struggled with reliability issues throughout the event, and Cadillac's debut weekend ended in frustration after Bottas retired and Sergio Perez finished far outside the points. But the biggest takeaway from the Australian Grand Prix is undoubtedly Mercedes. For several seasons, the team has been searching for a way back to the front after losing their dominance during the previous regulation cycle. The 2026 rules appear to have given them the opportunity they were waiting for. Their power unit looks extremely efficient, their energy deployment system appears well optimized, and the car itself shows excellent balance during long runs. That combination allowed Russell and Antonelli to control the race without ever looking truly vulnerable. Ferrari, meanwhile, showed enough speed to suggest they will remain strong challengers throughout the season. Their early race pace and aggressive start proved that the SF26 is capable of fighting at the front. However, Strategy decisions and energy management limitations ultimately prevented them from challenging Mercedes for the victory. Red Bull may face the biggest questions heading into the next round. Verstappen's recovery drive highlighted the driver's exceptional skill, but the team clearly struggled with consistency and reliability throughout the weekend. And that leads to the broader picture of the 2026 championship. With brand new power unit regulations, several rookies entering the grid, and teams still learning how to extract performance from the new hybrid systems, the competitive order could evolve rapidly over the coming races. Right now, Mercedes appear to have the strongest overall package. Ferrari remains close enough to fight them on the right circuits. Red Bull will undoubtedly work aggressively to fix their early issues, and teams like McLaren and Audi may still emerge as serious contenders once development begins. For now, though, the opening chapter of the 2026 season belongs entirely to George Russell and Mercedes. Russell's victory in Melbourne marks the 6th win of his Formula One career and sends a powerful message to the rest of the grid. After years of rebuilding and technical experimentation, the Silver Arrows may finally be back at the front of Formula One. If you enjoyed this race breakdown and want deeper analysis of the technical battles, strategies, and championship storylines throughout the 2026 season, make sure to subscribe to F1 Unpacked and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Because if the Australian Grand Prix proved anything, it's that this new era of Formula One is only just beginning, and the fight for the 2026 championship could be one of the most fascinating battles we've seen in years.